Welcome to the Hidden Bar. There are certain songs you don't just listen to, you have to study them. Jay-Z's The Evils is one of those records. Because on the surface, it sounds like a street story, but underneath it's something much deeper. This is a song about transformation, about what happens to a person when money, power, and survival start changing who they are. And by the end of the song, you're not listening to the same person you heard at the beginning. Let's get right into it. Jay-Z's The Evils. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Secret society trying to keep an eye on me. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? I can't die, I can't die, I can't die, I can't die. Alright. Dear God, I wonder, can you save me? On the surface, this reads as prayer, desperation, and fear. But structurally, this is not a confident prayer. It's uncertainty, doubt, distance from God. He doesn't say save me, he says can you save me? That's huge. That implies he might be too far gone, he might already be compromised, and he's unsure if redemption is still available. This is pre-confession energy, not salvation, fear of disqualification. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. This sounds like conspiracy or secret society talk, but this is the total ownership language. Let's break it down. From mind to thoughts, perception, decision-making. From soul to identity, morality, essence. Body is to actions and physical existence. That's all three layers of a human being. So this line is really saying, something wants complete control over who I am. Is it literally Illuminati or the game itself? Money, power, survival, reputation. That's where this gets dangerous. Because now, Illuminati equals system of power. Not just a group. Secret society trying to keep their eye on me. Now we shift from control to surveillance. This sounds like they watching me, but we're really referring to paranoia or awareness. That's the tension, because in this lifestyle, you are being watched by competition, law, enemies, but also paranoia grows from guilt plus pressure. So this line sits in the middle of reality versus psychological consequence. Let's talk about the repetition of the prayer. This is not just for rhythm, this is looping anxiety. Every time he repeats, Dear God, it feels like no answer came, so he asks again. That creates spiritual isolation. I can't die, I can't die, I can't die. Now this is where it flips, because earlier he's asking, can I be saved? Now he's saying, I can't die. At first that sounds like survival and toughness, but this is not confidence. This is fear of death, fear of judgment, and fear of consequences. Even deeper, he might not be talking about physical death. This could be death of identity, death of position, death of ego, or fear of what happens after death. This is what Jay is really saying. I'm in something deeper than I can control. Something is trying to take all of me. I don't know if I can be saved, and I'm scared of what happens if I don't make it out. The structural role of the hook sets up the entire song as not bragging, not storytelling. It's a psychological unraveling. Jay isn't saying he's in the Illuminati. He's saying he's in something that feels like it. And that's important, because what people call the Illuminati in hip-hop usually isn't about a group. It's about what happens to a person when power starts taking pieces of them. That's the key. This hook establishes loss of control, spiritual doubt, paranoia versus reality, and fear of consequences. This shit is wicked on these mean streets. None of my friends speak. We all trying to win. But then again, maybe it's for the best though. Cause when they saying too much, you know they trying to get you touched. This shit is wicked on these mean streets. On the surface, this reads as rough environment, street life is dangerous. But wicked is doing a lot of work here. Not just hard, not just dangerous. Wicked equals morally corrupted. Evil isn't accidental here. It's embedded in the system. And then mean streets. That's personification. The streets aren't just a place. They have a personality. Cold, unforgiving, predatory. Which translates to the environment itself is designed to corrupt you. None of my friends speak. We're all trying to win. This sounds like silence and focus on success, but this is actually anti-friendship survival mode. None of my friends speak equals no communication, no vulnerability, no openness. Why? Because information equals danger. And then we're all trying to win. That's the shift. If everyone is trying to win, then nobody's really your friend. He's basically saying we started as friends, but the game turned us into competitors. But then again, maybe it's for the best though. This is subtle. This is rationalization. He's basically saying, yeah, it's messed up, but that but is dangerous because it shows he's starting to accept the dysfunction. This is how corruption works. You notice something is wrong, then you justify it, then you adapt to it. He's in step 2. Because when they're saying too much, now we get the rule. Talking equals risk. Too much transparency equals vulnerability. Vulnerability equals exposure. This ties back to the hook. Surveillance, paranoia, being watched. Now silence isn't just preference, it's protection. You know they're trying to get you touched. Now we get the consequence. Touched equals harmed or killed. He's pretty much saying information becomes weaponized. If someone talks too much, they leak info, they expose weaknesses, they set you up. So now we have a full system. Environment equals wicked, friendships equal compromised, silence equals survival, communication equals threat, success equals competition, trust equals liability. This isn't just describing the streets, it's describing a closed system of power where trust collapses, paranoia rises, survival requires emotional shutdown. Remember the hook. Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. Now look at these bars. He's already showing how that happens, not through a ritual, but through environment, pressure, and survival rules. Before Jay even tells a story, he builds a world where trust can't exist. Whoever said illegal was the easy way out couldn't understand the mechanics and the workings of the underworld. Granted, 9 to 5 is how to survive. I ain't trying to survive. I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it alive. Whoever said illegal was the easy way out. On the surface, he's rejecting a common belief. But deeper than that, he's arguing against a false narrative. People think street life equals shortcut, illegal equals fast money, which is easier than working. Jay says that's ignorance. Because easy implies less effort, less complexity, less risk. And he's about to prove it's actually the opposite. Couldn't understand the mechanics. Now he introduces a key word, mechanics. That's technical language, not emotional, not random. Mechanics equals systems, moving parts, cause and effect, rules you must follow. He's saying the streets aren't chaos, they're a structured system. And if you don't understand the mechanics, you get removed. And the workings of the underworld granted, now he expands it. Underworld equals criminal world, hidden world, unseen power structures. But this word choice is deep, because underworld also carries mythological meaning, spiritual descent, hell-like symbolism. This ties back to the hook. Now we have mechanics, which is the system, and the underworld equals hidden plus dangerous plus spiritual descent. This isn't just crime, this is a whole hidden system with rules, hierarchy, and consequences. And this is where the idea of a secret society starts to feel real. Not because there's a ceremony, but because there's a system of rules, hierarchy, and consequences that you have to learn to survive. And granted, he's acknowledging, yeah, it might look easier on the outside, but you don't understand what's underneath. 9 to 5 is how to survive. I ain't trying to survive. Now we hit philosophy. This sounds like rejecting regular job life, but look at the wording, survive versus live. He's saying 9 to 5 equals survival mode, basic existence, stability but limitation, and he rejects that. But here's the tension. Survival is actually what he just described in the streets. So he's caught between legal survival, which is a 9 to 5, versus illegal survival, which is a street system. And he's choosing the version that feels like living. I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it a lot. This could be viewed as ambition, enjoyment, living fully. But this is actually desire overriding logic. He's chasing intensity, freedom, experience, excess, even if it comes with paranoia, danger, and isolation. He already told us the system is wicked, but he still chooses it. Let's talk about what just happened structurally. In the first section, the game is dangerous and corrupt. This section is saying, I understand that and I'm choosing it anyway. That's huge. This is not ignorance, this is informed risk. He knows the mechanics, the underworld, and the consequences, and still says, I'd rather live dangerously than survive safely. Okay. Jay isn't trapped in the system, he consciously walks into it. That's a different level. So while the hook equals, can God save me? These bars equal, I chose the path that might require saving. Life ills, poison my body. I used to say, fuck Mike's skills. I never prayed to God, I prayed to God. That's right, it's wicked. That's life, I live it. Ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins. Ends. Life ills, poison my body. I used to say, fuck Mike's skills. On the surface, this reads as life struggles. Didn't care about rap early. But life ills plus poison my body, that's internal damage language. This isn't just hard times. This is trauma, stress, survival wear and tear. And poison my body equals corruption from the inside out. Now pair that with fuck Mike's skills. He's saying he wasn't focused on artistry, he was in survival mode. Meaning rap wasn't the goal, survival was. I never prayed to God, I prayed to God. Yeah, this is one of them lines. This just sounds like reference to John Gotti and mob influence. But the hidden layer is the replacement of God. He's saying, I didn't look to divine guidance, I looked to power in the streets. So Gotti becomes symbol of success, symbol of authority, and a symbol of what to worship. This is idol substitution. Instead of morality and spirituality, he follows power, money, and influence, which connects directly to the hook. Dear God, can you save me? Now I never prayed to God. That's the conflict. He's asking for salvation from a life where he never followed God in the first place. That's right, it's wicked, that's life, I live it. Now he fully accepts it. It's wicked equals corrupt, immoral, and dangerous. But then, that's life. This is normalization. He's saying this isn't abnormal, this is just how things are. And then I live it. Not I'm stuck in it, I hate it, I embody it. That's full immersion. Ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins. Ends. Now this is the coldest part. This sounds like no remorse and no repentance, but it's really a rejection of accountability. Earlier, can God save me? Now, I'm not even asking for forgiveness. That's a contradiction, which means internal conflict is peaking. He wants salvation, but refuses repentance. And then ends. That word is loaded. It can mean justification, and justifies the means. It can mean money, street slang, or it can mean outcomes as results. Whatever I'd have to do, the results make it worth it. Let's talk about what just happened. He just revealed trauma, which is life ills, corrupted identity, which is poison body, false God, which is Gotti, acceptance of evil, it's wicked, that's life, rejection of forgiveness. This is a full spiritual arc in 4 bars. This is not just street mentality, this is spiritual displacement, where God is replaced, morality is adjusted, sin is normalized, forgiveness is dismissed. Jay isn't just saying he lived wrong, he's saying he stopped measuring right and wrong altogether. That's heavy. Let's make a connection, okay? The hook, can you save me? These bars say, I never followed you and I'm not asking for forgiveness. That's the tension that drives the whole record. There's another layer too. I used to say, fuck Mike's skills. I never prayed to God. I prayed to God. We already established layer 1, which is a rejection of artistry, survival over skill, and God leading to replace with street power, Gotti. Spiritual displacement plus value shift. But there's another layer, and this is where it gets surgical. Fuck Mike's skills can sound like not caring about rap ability. But culturally, Mike's skills equal lyrical mastery. And in that era, the pinnacle of that equals Rakim. And Rakim wasn't just a rapper, he was called the God MC. So now, reread the next line. I never prayed to God. This can also read as, I never worshiped the God MC. Meaning I didn't study Rakim, I didn't chase lyrical excellence, I didn't revere the traditional rap hierarchy. I prayed to Gotti. Now that contrast becomes crazy clear. Instead of Rakim, the God MC, to lyrical God, He chose John Gotti, street power, real world authority. Let's talk about what Jay just did. He created a split between the rap world, mic skills, Rakim, God MC, lyrical worship, versus the street world, Gotti, power, money, survival. He's saying, I didn't look up to rap gods, I looked up to street kings. Now that first line, fuck mic skills, isn't just about skill. It's about rejecting an entire value system. He's saying, I wasn't trying to be the best rapper, I was trying to be the most powerful man. And this connects back to everything. The hook, mind, body, soul. Now we see how that happened. Mind is influenced by street idols. Soul, detached from spiritual guidance. Body, living out those decisions. Jay didn't just ignore mic skills, he rejected the God MC and chose a street god instead. That's a bar inside the bar. Even deeper, this creates a false trinity. God, spiritual authority, to rejected. Rakim, lyrical authority, equals ignored. Gotti, street authority, he embraced. That's a full reprogramming of what God means to him. This ain't just, I didn't care about rap. This is, I didn't worship the culture's God. I worshiped power instead. Let's talk about ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins, ends, because there's another layer I want to touch on. Pause. Layer 1 being the foundation, which is still no repentance, no accountability, no moral check-in. I'm not asking God for anything. Let's talk about layer 2, honing in on ends. Ends equals money, profit, results. In street language, get your ends equals get your money, by any means to the ends. He's collapsing two ideas into one word. Ends equals outcome or results. Ends also equals money and profit. So the line becomes, I'm not concerned with forgiveness, I'm concerned with results. And in his world, results equal money. He's saying, I'm not asking for forgiveness for what I've done. As long as it leads to money, it's worth it. That's the cleanest version. This connects to a bigger philosophy. The ends justify the means, which means sin doesn't matter, morality doesn't matter, only outcomes matter. And what are the outcomes? Money, power, survival. Jay isn't ignoring his sins, he's measuring them against the money they produce. And that's cold. Also, look at the structure. Sins to spiritual consequence. Ends to material reward. He literally puts them next to each other like sins to ends. That's almost poetic symmetry. What it costs you, sins, versus what you gain, ends. And he chooses ends over sins. This line is the philosophy of the whole song in one moment. No forgiveness, no repentance, and no moral hesitation. Just outcomes. I break bread with the late heads, picking their brains for angles on all the evils that the game will do. It gets dangerous. Money and power is changing us. And now we're lethal, infected with the evils. This is where Jay steps outside himself and shows you the system from above. Before this, he was inside it, rationalizing it. Now, he's explaining how corruption spreads. I break bread with the late heads sounds like eating with older guys and building connections. But break bread equals communion language. That's deeper than just networking. This is fellowship, initiation, and shared understanding. Now late heads equals older, experienced street figures, which means I sit with the ones who've been through this before me. This is mentorship, but not the good kind. Picking their brains for angles on sounds like learning and gaining knowledge. But angles is key. Not wisdom or guidance. Angles equals strategy, manipulation, and advantage. This is how to move, how to play, and how to survive and win. He's saying I'm studying how to operate in a corrupt system efficiently. On all the evils that the game will do is when he names it directly. The game equals street system, money system, and power structure, and he calls it evil. Not risky, not dangerous, evil. Which means harm is built in, corruption is expected, and destruction is part of the design. And he's studying it. It gets dangerous. Money and power is changing us. Now we see the effect. Not might change us, is changing us. That's active transformation. And notice us, not just Jay. This is collective corruption, shared transformation. He's saying nobody stays the same once they get access to money and power. And now we're lethal, infected with the evils. This is the climax of the section. Lethal equals dangerous, capable of harm, no hesitation. But then infected, That word is crazy important because infection implies spread, contamination, something entering you, something taking over. This ties perfectly to the hook, mind, body, and soul. Now we see how it happens, infection, and then the evils. Not just devils, the system, the mindset, the corruption. Let's map what just happened. For 1, sit with the experienced late heads OGs. 2, learn the strategies, the angles. 3, understand the system, evils of the game. 4, get access to power, money and power. 5, undergo transformation, changing us. 6, become dangerous, lethal. 7, get consumed, infected with the evils. Jay shows us that corruption isn't forced, it's learned, practiced, and eventually becomes who you are. This section answers the question from earlier. How does the system take your mind, soul, and body? Answer: mentorship, knowledge, exposure, power, and repetition until it comes identity. We used to fight for building blocks. Now we fight for blocks with buildings that make a killing. The closest of friends when we first started, but grew apart as money grew and soon grew black-hearted. I think I rapped it wrong. But anyway, we used to fight for building blocks. On the surface, this reads as childhood, innocence, kids playing. Building blocks equals literal toys, an early stage conflict, which is harmless and small scale. Low-key, this is pre-corruption. This is when conflict was simple, when stakes were low, when identity wasn't formed yet. He's showing that there was a time when none of this was serious. Now we fight for blocks with buildings that make a killing. Now we jump. Blocks with buildings equals real estate, drug territory, and economic control. Make a killing is double meaning. Making money and violence and death. So now the same word blocks is completely different stakes. Basically, we went from playing over blocks to killing over blocks. That's evolution. But it's also devolution of the soul. The closest of friends when we first started. Now he zooms in. This is an origin story, loyalty, shared beginnings. This is before the system corrupted the relationship. These weren't random people. These were trusted, bonded, real connections, which makes what comes next heavier, but grew apart as the money grew and soon grew black-hearted. This is one of the coldest lines in the song. Look at the structure. Grew repeated 3 times. Grew apart. Money grew. Grew black-hearted. That's intentional progression. Let's talk about the breakdown of that progression. 1, money grows. Success, opportunity, expansion. 2, relationships shrink. Distance, mistrust, separation. 3, hearts harden. Loss of empathy, emotional shutdown, moral decay. That's a full transformation in 1 sentence. Black-hearted equals no compassion, no softness, no hesitation. This is spiritual language. Jay shows that money doesn't just separate people, it reshapes them into strangers. This section proves the system doesn't just corrupt individuals, it destroys relationships. And now we're seeing innocence to gone, friendship to broken, emotion is now hardened. Thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers, he never learned, so in turn I'm kidnapping his baby mother. My hand around her collar, feeding her cheese. She said the taste of dollars was shitty, so I fed her 50s. I keep messing up on the verses, sorry about that. This is where the verse turns dark. We not even in philosophy anymore. This is full moral collapse on display. Thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers. On the surface, this is sexual maturity, growing up. But structurally, this is timeline anchoring. He's taking us back to adolescence, early adulthood, and formative years. Learn to use rubbers equals entering adulthood, learning consequences, and awareness of responsibility. This is supposed to be the point where maturity begins. But what he's about to show is maturity didn't lead to morality. He never learned, so in turn I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. This sounds like revenge, retaliation, and violence. But the structure matters, cause to effect. He never learned, didn't grow, didn't adapt, didn't follow the rules. So in turn, this is justification language. He's saying because he didn't move right, this is what happens. And then kidnapping his baby's mother. This is power move, leverage, and psychological warfare. Not random violence, strategic cruelty. He's saying in this system, your mistakes don't just affect you, they affect the people connected to you. My hand around her collar, feeding her cheese. Now we get imagery. Hand around her collar equals control, dominance, ownership. This is dehumanization. She's no longer a person. She's leverage, asset, and a tool. Then feeding her cheese. Cheese equals money. So we have a contrast. Physical control, which is the collar, material offering, which is money. This is power plus money working together. She said the taste of dollars was shitty, so I fed her 50s. Basically, she rejects the money. He gives her more money. But listen closely. Taste of dollars was shitty. Money doesn't erase the situation. She's not impressed. She recognizes the corruption. And his response, increase the money. Fed her 50s. He's saying if money doesn't fix it, use more money. This is desensitization, transactional thinking, and belief that everything has a price. This section reveals the clearest picture so far of who he's becoming. Justifies harm, so in turn, uses people as leverage, equates power with control, believes money solves resistance, and shows no empathy in the process. This isn't just violence, this is value distortion, where people become tools, relationships become leverage, money becomes the solution to everything. Jay shows that once money becomes your solution, people become your currency. Pay attention to the progression. Earlier, black-hearted. Now we see what that actually looks like. Not just a cold mindset, but cold actions. My hand around her collar, feeding her cheese. What we know is solid. Collar equals control, ownership, and animal imagery. Feeding equals dominance, provider, controller, dynamic. Cheese equals money. That alone already gives us power plus control plus dehumanization. Let's discuss another layer. Rat equals snitch. Cheese equals bait and money. Rats are attracted to cheese. So when you combine collar, which is animal control, feeding, and cheese, it can imply you're not even human to me. You're something I feed and control. And if a man is viewed as a rat, snitch, or a liability, then this becomes extended punishment / symbolic disrespect. And even the way he says feeding her cheese adds another layer to the dehumanization, because in street culture, cheese is what you give to rats. So now it's not just control, it's almost like he's reducing them to something beneath human, something to be handled, fed, and used. Look at the full image. Collar to pet, controlled animal. Feeding to dependency. Cheese to bait, reward. That creates a system of control to dependency to manipulation. Not just I got power over you, but I decide what you receive and what you're worth. Okay? Jay doesn't just take control of the situation, he strips the humanity out of it. He never learned, so in turn I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. We discuss what's clearly happening. Lack of discipline, never learned, consequence, so in turn, punishment through someone close to him. Okay? We're talking cause to effect. But there's another layer where the baby's mother equals vulnerability. Because earlier Jay told us, talking too much equals liability. Information equals liability. Trust equals liability. Now we see relationships equal liability. Earlier Jay told us that even talking too much can get you touched. Now he expands that idea. It's not just what you say, it's who you're connected to. Because in this world, the people you love can be used against you. Let's talk about why learning to use rubbers matters. This line isn't random. He never learned. This isn't just about sex. It's about discipline plus foresight. Learning to use protection equals understanding consequences, minimizing risk, thinking ahead. He didn't do that. So what happens? He creates a child, a baby mother, emotional attachments, which leads to exposure. He didn't just fail to protect himself physically, he failed to protect himself strategically. Now let's connect this back to the system. Silence equals survival, talking equals danger. Now we expand. Anything that connects you to emotion becomes a weak point. So now the system looks like words are liability, friends are liability, relationships also become liability, and family leads to liability. That's total vulnerability. In this world, it's not just your mistakes that get you hurt, it's your attachments. This is the evolution of the game. At first you worry about enemies, now you have to worry about who can be used to get to you. That's a different level of danger. This line shows the game doesn't just punish you directly, it punishes what you care about. And that's why emotional connections become strategic risks. About his whereabouts, I wasn't convinced. I kept feeding her money till her shit started to make sense. Who could ever foresee? We used to stay up all night at slumber parties. Now I'm trying to rock his bitch to sleep. This section is surgical. This is Jay showing how paranoia turns into action and action turns into betrayal. About his whereabouts, I wasn't convinced. On the surface, this appears as suspicion and doubt. He's really symbolizing trust is completely gone now. Wasn't convinced equals not satisfied with information, doesn't believe what he's hearing. This ties back to earlier. Talking equals liability. Information equals weapon. Now we see the result. Even answers aren't trusted. This is paranoia in motion. I kept feeding her money till her shit started to make sense. This is calculated. Feeding her money equals bribery, manipulation, pressure. But notice, kept feeding. That implies persistence, escalation, testing. He's not just offering money, he's extracting truth through pressure. Till her shit started to make sense equals, he didn't believe her at first, he kept applying pressure, eventually her story aligned. Truth isn't freely given, it's bought and forced, okay? Who could ever foresee? This is reflection. This sounds like disbelief, but what's hidden is this is irony. He's basically saying, who would have thought it would end up like this? But the audience knows all the earlier steps led here. So this line carries regret, kind of lightly, disbelief, and acknowledgement of transformation. We used to stay up all night at slumber parties. Now we go back again. This mirrors earlier, building blocks, childhood innocence. Slumber parties equals trust, closeness, safety, youth. This is pure innocence. And it's intentional. He keeps showing what they used to be. So the contrast hits harder. Now I'm trying to rock this bitch to sleep. Yeah, this is layered and cold. On the surface, we get sexual betrayal and disrespect. But let's break the phrasing. Rock to sleep. That's important. That phrase usually means calming someone or soothing someone. But here it's twisted because now it becomes manipulation, seduction, and control. Let's talk about the hidden layers. This line represents ultimate betrayal. From slumber parties, which is innocence and friendship, to sleeping with this woman, which is violation and disrespect. But even deeper, it's not about desire. It's about power, dominance, and control. This section is the full collapse of trust, friendship, and morality. Now we have suspicion turning into interrogation, interrogation leading to manipulation, and manipulation leading to betrayal. This isn't just friends turned enemies. This is friends turned threats, then turned targets. Jay shows that once trust is gone, every relationship becomes a strategy. Pay attention to the symmetry. Building blocks to slumber parties, which is innocence, kidnapping to bribery to betrayal, which is corruption. He keeps reminding you, this didn't start like this. I gotta take a step back right here because this is where Jay's writing goes to another level. This isn't just storytelling, this is multiple realities happening at the same time. There are 3 different layers happening simultaneously. First layer, the literal layer, which is scene-based. This is the darkest reading. Kidnapping is real. Hand around her collar equals physical control. Feeding her cheese, dollars, 50s, equals possibly literal. This creates a hostage scene where rock his bitch to sleep could lean toward violence, silencing, or finality. This is raw, physical, and cinematic. There's a second layer, a manipulation layer, which is strategic. Now shift. Feeding her money equals bribery. Extracting information. Pressure over time. This connects directly to I kept feeding her money till her shit started to make sense. That confirms this is interrogation through money. So now it's not just violence, but strategy plus control. Let's talk about the third layer, which is the wordplay or language layer. Taste of dollars was shitty. Her shit started to make sense. Same root word, shit, shitty, but used in 2 completely different ways. First usage, shitty equals unpleasant, worthless, not convincing. Second usage, her shit equals her story, her explanation, her version. So now the word evolves mid-sequence. Jay is showing money transforms the situation and the language. At first, money tastes bad, it doesn't work. Then, more money equals better results. Her shit, her story, improves. He's saying the more money I applied, the more acceptable her truth became. That's crazy. Now let's bring it all together. Slumber parties to rock his bitch to sleep. That phrase works on multiple levels. Childhood innocence, slumber parties, soothing, calming, seduction, or silencing, removing or ending. So now we have comfort. Language used in a corrupted context. This is where Jay layers everything at once. You can hear this is literal kidnapping, you can hear his manipulation through money, and then on top of that, he's playing with language, shitty and shit, showing how the more money he applies, the more her story starts to make sense. Then he flips something innocent like slumber parties into rocking his girl to sleep, which could be seduction or something much darker. All of that is happening at the same time. Jay isn't just storytelling. Jay isn't just telling a story, he's letting multiple versions of the story exist at once. All the years we were real close, now I see his fears through her tears, knowing she wishing we were still close. Don't cry, it is to be. In time, I'll take away your miseries and make 'em mine, the evils. This is one of the coldest emotional pivots in the whole song, because now he's not just acting different, he's seeing differently. All the years we were real close might just sound like friendship and history, but this line is doing something subtle by establishing legitimacy. This wasn't casual or temporary. This was real closeness over time. That makes everything after this not just betrayal, but deep betrayal. Now I see his fears through her tears. This is crazy. On the surface, she's crying. He understands the situation. But structurally, this is indirect exposure. He's not learning from his friend. He's learning through someone emotionally connected to him. Now break it deeper. His fears equal what he's scared of, what he's vulnerable about. Through her tears goes to emotional leakage and pain revealing truth, which says, I understand him now because I see what he's afraid of through what she's feeling. That's a different level of perception. Basically, he's saying empathy has been weaponized. He's using her emotions and her vulnerability to understand his enemy. That's cold. No, she wishing we were still close. Now we get reflection. She misses how things used to be, but somehow she represents the memory of what they were. She's like the emotional bridge and the reminder of the past. But Jay, he's already past that. So now she feels it, he observes it. That's emotional separation. Don't cry, it is to be. This is where it gets eerie. Seems like he's comforting her, but this is fatalism. It is to be equals this was inevitable, this was destined, this couldn't be avoided. He's removing responsibility. Not I did this, but this is how it had to happen. In time, I'll take away your miseries. This line is dark depending on how you hear it. It might sound comforting or helping. But given everything we've seen, this could mean removing her pain or removing her completely. Because in this world, solving a problem equals eliminating it. And make it mine, the evils. This is the culmination. Make it mine equals take control, absorb the situation, claim ownership. But what is it? Could it be her pain, the situation, the consequences, the evil itself? He's saying, I'll take your pain, but not to heal you, to control the situation fully. And then the evils. That's the stamp. Not random actions, but this is the result of being consumed by the system. This section is the clearest moment of emotional detachment plus psychological control. He now understands people through their pain, uses emotion as information, removes responsibility, it is to be, frames control as comfort. This isn't just betrayal, this is transformation of empathy into strategy. Jay shows that at a certain point you don't stop understanding people, you just start using what you understand against them. Look at the full evolution, from childhood to innocence, from friendship to loyalty, from money to separation, from power to manipulation, and from now to emotional control. This is full corruption of mind, soul, behavior, and he's calm while doing it. Let's talk about what we're actually hearing. By this point in the verse, there's no hesitation, no remorse, no internal conflict. Compare that to earlier. Dear God, can you save me? Equates to doubt. I never prayed to God equates to conflict. Now, that tension is gone. He's speaking with certainty, control, and detachment. There's a part of me that wants to say he's speaking as the devil himself at this point. But I'll just say Jay's voice doesn't even sound human anymore. Not literally, but in the sense that all the hesitation is gone. Earlier he was questioning things, now he's speaking with complete control, almost like the part of him that used to be doubt is gone. Let's talk about what's really happening. This is identity takeover. Earlier, J versus the system. Now J equals the system. So those lines, "Don't cry, it is to be," "I'll take away your miseries," sound like comfort or reassurance. But underneath is control plus inevitability. That's why it feels non-human, because emotion has been replaced with function. At this point, Jay doesn't even sound like the same person from the beginning of the song. Earlier, he was questioning things. Now he's speaking with complete certainty. It almost feels like the evils he talked about in the hook have fully taken over. Not in a literal sense, but in the way he's lost all hesitation and is now speaking from a place of pure control. At the end of this verse, it doesn't feel like Jay is fighting the evils anymore. It feels like he's become them. And it's usually the point where, from the outside looking in, people say someone changed or sold out. But what we're actually watching is a step-by-step transformation. Jay has reached a point of psychological transformation so complete it feels inhuman, and that's exactly what the song is about. Jay starts the song asking to be saved, and by the end of the verse, he sounds like something that doesn't want saving anymore. "My flesh no nigga could test. My soul is possessed by the evils in the form of diamonds and Lexuses. The exorcist got me doing sticks like homie. You don't know me, but the whole world owe me strip." This is final form energy. No more build-up, no more questioning. He's stating what he is now. "My flesh no nigga could test." Sounds like confidence and dominance. But look at the wording, "my flesh." That's not casual. That's body, physical being, presence. He's basically saying separation is starting. He's not saying I can't be tested. He's saying his flesh can't be tested. That hints at body versus soul distinction. Almost like he's not fully identifying as one unified self anymore. "My soul is possessed by the evils." Now it's explicit. No metaphor hiding. My soul is possessed. This is the culmination of everything. Mind, body, soul, and the hook. Infected with the evils earlier. Now equals a full takeover. This is the complete identity shift, where values have changed, morality is gone, and mindset is consumed. He's saying everything that used to guide me is no longer in control. In the form of diamonds and Lexuses. This is crazy, because now he defines what the evils are. Not demons and spirits, material things. Diamonds to wealth, status. Lexuses to luxury and success. So now we know the evils equals materialism plus power. That's the reveal. Everything before this, now confirmed. The things I chased are the things that changed me. The exorcist got me doing sticks like homie. This is layered. First, the Exorcist reference. That movie is about possession, loss of control, being overtaken. So he's reinforcing the possession theme. Now, got me doing sticks. Sticks equal guns, violence, actions he may not have taken before. So now the possession is influencing behavior, not just mindset, actions. Like homie, you don't know me, but the whole world owe me strip. This is ego expansion. You don't know me equals distance, separation, identity shift. Whole world owe me equals entitlement, inflated self-perception, power mindset. This is the final stage. Ego plus power plus detachment. This section confirms that everything we've been building is now stated directly. Soul is now taken over. Values are replaced. Identity is shifted. Actions are influenced. And the ego is expanded. This is no longer conflict, struggle, or questioning. This is acceptance of the new self. Jay doesn't just say the evils affected him. He shows that they become the lens he sees himself through. Look at the progression across the whole song. The hook, "Can you save me?" Verse 1, "I chose this." Verse 2, "I became this." Verse 3, "This is what I am now." This is the transformation complete. The exorcist got me doing sticks like homie. You don't know me, but the whole world owe me strip. First, let's look at the wordplay. From sticks to strip. That's not random. That's phonetic continuity, action continuity, and escalation. Sticks equals stick-ups, robberies, armed confrontation. Strip equals command, submission, surrender, give everything up. So the movement is from action to command. In the middle, Like, homie, you don't know me, but the whole world owe me. This is justification. He's not just robbing, he's explaining it. You don't know me equals distance, no empathy. World owe me equals entitlement. He's saying, I'm not wrong for this, I'm owed this. So now the structure becomes a full sequence breakdown. Number 1, the cause, possession, influence, which is the exorcist got me. 2, the action, doing sticks, robberies. 3, justification, the whole world owe me. 4, execution, strip, give it up. The wordplay matters because the sound mirrors the behavior. Sticks sounds sharp and aggressive. Strip, abrupt and final. It feels like a real stick-up. Pull up, assert control, justify, demand compliance. Listen to how he moves from sticks to strips. That's not just rhyme, that's sequence. He goes from the act of the robbery to the command that finishes it. And right in the middle, he justifies it. You don't know me, the whole world owe me. So now it's not just crime, it's something he believes he's entitled to. Jay doesn't just rhyme sticks with strip. He turns the rhyme into a full robbery sequence. This section shows language matching behavior in real time. Action to explanation to command. And it all flows through 2 words that sound connected. That's elite writing. Was thought to be a pleasant guy all my fucking life. So now I'm down for whatever, ain't nothing nice. Throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. But now this higher learning got the Remy in me. Liquors invaded my kidneys. Got me ready to lick off, mama, forgive me. Was thought to be a pleasant guy all my fucking life sounds like reputation and how people saw him. But this is important, was thought to be. That means perception and not necessarily identity. So either he was that person or people believed he was. Either way, there's a gap between who he was and who he is now. Pleasant guy equals approachable, non-threatening, normal. This is pre-corruption identity. So now I'm down for whatever, ain't nothing nice. Now we flip. Down for whatever equals no limits, no hesitation, no moral boundaries. Ain't nothing nice equals no kindness, no softness, no mercy. This is a full rejection of the earlier identity. The version of me people knew doesn't exist anymore, okay? Throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. Now he goes even further back. Junior high equals early development, formative years. All friendly equals no conflict, no hostility, no edge. This reinforces this wasn't always who he was. But now this higher learning got the Remy in me. This line is layered. Higher learning equals double meaning. The first one is literal. Education, growing up, life experience. Second one is street meaning. Learning the game, understanding systems, gaining knowledge of power. Then got the Remy in me equals alcohol, Remy Martin. Influence, altered state. So now knowledge plus environment plus substance equals transformation. He's saying what I learned and what I was exposed to changed what's inside me. Liquors invaded my kidneys. Now he gets physical. Invaded equals forceful, aggressive, not passive. This ties back to earlier language. Infected, possessed. Same pattern. Now its substance is taking over the body. Kidneys equals internal or processing system. This is corruption from the inside out. Got me ready to lick off, mama, forgive me. Now we hit consequences. Lick off equals shoot, act violently. Ready equals prepared, no hesitation. So now, internal changes to external action. Then, mama, forgive me. This is important because earlier he said, ain't asking for forgiveness. Now he does ask, but not to God, to his mother. This matters because it shows God, removed earlier, moral structure replaced, but a piece of humanity still exists. He doesn't go to divine forgiveness. He goes to personal, emotional forgiveness. This section shows how the transformation happened. His identity, pleasant guy. To an environment, higher learning. To influence, Remy liquor. To internal change, invaded. To action, ready to shoot. Jay doesn't just show who he became. He shows the exact steps that turned him into it. And that last line, mama forgive me, that's a crack in the mirror. Because even at this stage, something in him still knows this isn't who he was supposed to be. This section is a timeline of transformation, not random memories, stages of evolution. Let's break it down as a growth cycle. Stage 1, identity, childhood. Was thought to be a pleasant guy all my life, from birth to early identity, how people saw him. Innocence, normalcy. This is who he was supposed to be. Stage 2, early development, junior high. Throughout my junior high years, it was all friendly. Social phase, relationships intact, no real conflict. This is the last stage of innocence. Then we get to stage 3, transition, higher learning. But now this higher learning got the Remy in me. Higher learning equals not just school, the streets is education. So now, school to streets, learning to survival, lessons to consequences. This is his college of the streets moment. Stage 4, internal change, influence. Liquors invaded my kidneys, substances, environment, lifestyle. This is where what he's exposed to becomes what's inside him. Stage 5, outcome, action. Got me ready to lick off. Now it manifests. Not just thinking, not just learning, acting. And the action is violence. Jay walks us through his entire evolution, from being a pleasant kid to a friendly teenager to someone who went through what he calls higher learning, which isn't college in the traditional sense. It's the streets. And through that process, what he learned and what he was exposed to changed what's inside him, until he got to the point where he's ready to act on it. The streets equal college. That's powerful because it reframes higher learning. It shows structured growth. It makes the transformation intentional. So now it's not random corruption, it's graduation into deeper levels of the game. Look at how the actions escalate across the song. Verse 1 was a survival mindset. Verse 2, kidnapping, manipulation. Verse 3, robbery, violence. That's curriculum. Each verse is a new level past. Jay doesn't just change over time. He graduates into more dangerous versions of himself. This section proves corruption wasn't instant. It was learned, practiced, reinforced, and escalated until it became identity. I can't be held accountable. The evil's beating me down, boo. Got me running with guys, making G's, telling lies that sound true. Come test me. I never cower. For the love of money, son, I'm giving lead showers. Stop screaming. You know the demon said it's best to die. And even if Jehovah Witness bet, he'll never testify. The evils. I can't be held accountable. The evil's beating me down, boo. Sounds like denying responsibility, but he's really externalizing blame. I can't be held accountable equals not my fault, not my responsibility. Why? The evil's beating me down. So now, earlier to influence, now is an excuse. It's not me doing this, it's what I become under pressure. Got me running with guys, making G's, telling lies that sound true. Now we see behavior normalized. Running with guys, environment circle, making G's, money, telling lies that sound true, deception refined. That last part is crazy. Not just lying, convincing lies. So now, morality gone, deception sharpened, success tied to manipulation. Come test me, I never cower. Now we get ego, fearless, confrontational, no hesitation. This isn't courage, it's desensitization. Okay? For the love of money, son, I'm giving lead showers. This is one of the clearest lines in the song. For the love of money equals motivation. Lead showers equals bullets, violence, killing. So now we have money as a violence pipeline. No metaphor needed. Stop screaming. You know the demon said it's best to die. Yeah, this is where it gets eerie again. It sounds like intimidation and control. But there's a hidden layer where the internal voice is fully taken over. The demon said equals justification, internal command, and removal of empathy. Now he's not deciding, he's following. And even if Jehovah Witness bet he'll never testify. This is layered. On the surface, this is just wordplay. Jehovah's Witnesses are known for evangelizing and spreading truth. But also, witness equals someone who sees something. So now there's a double meaning. Even if a religious person sees it, they won't speak. Even if someone witnesses the crime, they won't testify. Truth is silenced either way. The evils, that's the final stamp. Not conflict or struggle, identity confirmed. This final section completes the transformation. No accountability, deception mastered, violence normalized, ego inflated, conscience silenced, truth suppressed. This is no longer a man influenced by evil. This is a man operating fully within it. Jay starts the song asking if he can be saved and ends it explaining why he doesn't feel responsible for needing saving at all. Let's discuss the final song arc. The hook is the fear of corruption. Verse 1, understanding the system. Verse 2, becoming the system. Verse 3, justifying the system. This song isn't about crime, money, and street life. It's about how a person loses themselves step by step until they don't even recognize that they're lost. When people talk about the Illuminati in hip-hop, a lot of times they're not really talking about a literal group. They're describing a transformation. What happens to someone when money, power, and influence take over their identity. And what's crazy is, this song actually shows the transformation step by step. The rumor of selling your soul equals the reality of gradual identity change. Not ritual or initiation ceremony, but choices, environment, pressure, ambition. People say he lost his soul. The Illuminati changed him. What the song shows is a process. He entered the system. He learned the rules. He adapted. He changed. He justified. He changed. He became something else. Same outcome, different explanation. Jay came into the game with one mindset, and over time, through money, power, and the environment, he became something else. Not overnight, but step by step. What people call selling your soul, this song shows what actually looks like in real time. Let's tie it back to the hook, mind, soul, and body. Whether you call it the Illuminati or not, the idea is the same. Something takes over your mind, your values, and your identity. And this song shows that it doesn't happen through a ritual, it happens through choices. Maybe the Illuminati isn't something you join. Maybe it's something you become when power changes who you are. When people talk about the Illuminati in hip-hop, they usually imagine a moment, a decision, a deal. But what this song shows is something different. It shows that transformation doesn't happen all at once. It happens through choices, environment, pressure, and repetition, step by step, until the person you started as isn't the person you end up being. So maybe it's not about joining something. Maybe it's about becoming something. And by the end of this song, Jay isn't asking to be saved anymore. He's showing us what happens when you don't. And that's how a man loses himself without even realizing it. Welcome to the Hidden Bar.